Hi, this is Phil Hilfiger coming to you once more for a video on music production. Today's topic is going to be modulation within a synthesizer, and of course I'm presenting this as part of Loud & Stern's Introduction to Music Production course at coursera.org. This is an assignment for week 6. We'll jump right in. As you can see, I've chosen to use TAL Noisemaker, which is a free synth VST based that you can download and try out, and I think you really should. It's a really nice little piece of equipment, very clear in terms of the layout, I find, and especially for somebody just getting into synthesis, I think this is a great way to get started. So if we want to talk about modulation, first of all, I've got my two oscillators here that allow me to choose different wave shapes to get me started. I've just got a sine wave here to get going. Now I could choose to add another element of sound on my second oscillator, for example a bit of a pulse sound. I could bring that in a little bit to give the sound a little more interest. I could even add some lower frequencies to give it even a little more bottom, especially as I go into a higher register. So let's leave it at that. If we're talking about modulation, of course the first big element in there is going to be the amplitude envelope, which is usually represented by this anagram ADSR, which stands for attack, decay, sustain, and release, and this is something you find in every synthesizer normally. Basically what we can do is of course decide what is the attack time for any given sound. So if I raise my attack time here, that means that the sound will fade in gradually instead of having an attack that goes makes the sound sound right away. So you're hearing the effect there. In a similar way, I can decide on the other factors what the decay time is going to be once I've hit the main volume or the highest point of volume before it settles on my sustain level. And same thing is valid for the release time. So if I let go of my key, the release time will decide how long the sound will linger on before it fades away. We've got a little bit of a slower release at the end. So this is of course one important element that you find in every synthesizer. Let's look at another modulation. LFOs are usually used for different modulations. LFO standing for low frequency oscillator. Typically these are waveforms that move in the 0 to 20 Hertz range, so that means it's not audible, but what will be audible is the way this low frequency oscillator is applied to certain parameters. And a first one commonly used would be pitch. So I'm choosing my two oscillators that will be varied by this LFO, and I can change the wave shape which is going to be acting. I can define the amount and the rate, the speed at which this modulation is going to happen, and the result will be so the pitch is changing. Following this triangular wave shape currently, and like I said, I could change this to get a different effect as well. Another LFO modulation possibility would be to act on the panning, and I have this option here in my second LFO. Again, I can decide what the amount is going to be, I can decide what the rate, the speed is going to be, or I can even synchronize any of these to my project tempo. So I'm using a different wave shape here, and the result is not as clear in this particular patch, but we've got the sound panning from left to right, especially if I bring it up all the way. Should be able to hear that. And the last very interesting element within TAL I find to be this envelope editor. So I can actually visually represent a modulation that I would like to apply. In this case, let's use a modulation on the filter, and this is, if I check here, I'm using a low-pass filter, which will cut off, of course, certain high frequencies that are usually kind of bright if I use this type of synthesis. So I can simply go in here and draw any kind of shape that I would like to be represented in my modulation as it applies to the filter. So and afterwards I can decide at which rate, at which speed this is going to be applied. I'm just going to set it at 4 right now, and we'll see how that works out. And of course I also need to decide which amount of modulation is going to be applied here. So this is just a very short overview. I hope this gave you some ideas, and like I said, definitely check out this TAL Noisemaker. I hope you had as much fun with the course as I did, and I hope this presentation was useful on some level for you. Thanks a lot for checking this out, and have a good one. Bye.